Yes, you can join us on YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja as we would have it on YouTube this very morning. Let's keep up the conversation. Now, the times are there. Things are going different. Things are really becoming really precious. But if you're streaming on YouTube or Facebook, it would interest you to know our guest is also joining us from Delta State this very morning. Is the founder of Not Too Young to Lead. Akpobi Elvis joins in via the Zoom platform. Good morning to you. Good to connect with you today. How are you today?
Fine, Femi. Nice connecting with you, and happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too, dear friend. Okay, so things are really turned out different when it comes to the build-up to the elections. I mean, more than ever before, this is the election a lot of people have talked about and said, well, the 2023 elections will be different in terms of the kind of results that we want to really obtain and the kind of results that really matters at the end of the day. I'm concerned about with the cashless policy and with all kinds of pressure, unemployment, few and the likes of that, the kind of young people and the thinking that they will be inclined to us during this election. What do you make of all the pressures that we did not see coming that may come down to become part of the choices that we have to deal with during these elections?
For me, I always say it's a very, very difficult time to be a Nigerian youth or to be in Nigeria because of the bleakness, the pressure, the lack of basic amenities, like things we should ordinarily get. We pray for them in churches and all that. But in a build-up to the forthcoming election, I would want to talk about the lack of money to even spend, physical cash to spend. I want to talk about the election. I'd love to talk about the election itself.
Yes, please.
I think the Nigeria electorate, they're getting wiser. And those who are the politicians or those who are vying for position, I think they should know that the Nigeria electorate are getting wiser. This election for me, I think is not going to be business as usual because we've been deprived for too long by people who ordinarily enjoyed policies of those ahead of them, who were meant to give us a very enabling environment where we can live our dreams. We'll be deprived for too long for the things we really should get as young Nigerians and Nigerians in general. So everything you see happening today, the pressure, the force, the enthusiasm from young people is because I think they're tired of complaining, so they want to take their destiny in their hands. And it's really going to be in progress.
Yes, go on, please. I'm with you.
It's really going to be an interesting ride, but while we try to do all that, I always want to urge young Nigerians that we should work towards, we shouldn't do experiments.
And, one of the things that is interesting about the Nigerian youth, you're a youth leader, a global youth leader. You've traveled around the world. You've seen some of the best practices that really works in places around the world to understand the role of young people in an election. What are some of the things young people in Nigeria are missing in terms of what they can or should be doing as part of preparations for elections? You find the regular voters, the electorates that have been around for a long time, they already have their bias, they already have their assessment system, they have all kinds of ways in which they've assessed the people they want to vote for. But let's say somebody is young and is coming out to vote for the first time and is young. What are some of the best practices that they should come to know as it is practiced around the world?
Basically, you should work track records and experience should be at the forefront. But you see in Nigeria today, there is the poverty ratio is high. And when you are poor, you become vulnerable. You lack your sense of humor. Because that's where bias always comes in. And today, our political system is overwhelmed with, ethnic binaries, social strata, religion. You hear about geographical zone. He's from this zone. He's not from this zone. He's a Muslim. He's a Christian. Above all we do, let's to young electorates who really want a better country, because we keep escaping Nigerians. I was meant to understand that the number of young Nigerians escaping this country is on the rise. Not because the land is green on the other side, but because they will be like, this place is too shook. Even when you work and earn money, the inflation rate and all that. So it's better you be in an environment where at least there's a working system. But see, you will always be a second fiddle in that environment. So to every young Nigerians, as we gravitate towards this election, let's, do the right thing by voting people who are in sync, who are experienced enough to know our needs, who will give us an enabling environment and grant us access to the tools we need to live our dreams as Nigerians, and who will place Nigerian interests first before their personal interest.
I'm curious to find out. I mean, you talked about the fact that quite a number of young people would consider leaving the country, and they're doing that daily. A lot of people are raising money, either in loans or borrowing money, just to see themselves leave the country and see themselves to an extent just build up a life that's different from here. And at the same time, we're saying there are more young people ready to vote. Would you consider the fact that there's an exit of young people, that it could play a role in this election? That's one part of the question. And for those who have stayed, do you really think they have the tools to assess? And you talked about track record, and I was wondering in my head, how do I know somebody who has a good track record? Everybody is saying they have a good track record. Everybody is saying young people in Nigeria will do this, I've done this for you. But if I'm a young voter and I'm coming to vote for the first time, or even a matured voter, I'm wondering, what exactly am I looking at this person at? What exactly am I trying to evaluate this person at? So some are leaving the country, some are staying. But very important to also ask is, those of who are here to stay, they have told us they have track record. What exactly is there to track? What exactly are we looking at to track? As a young person, what should they be using to track these records, if I would say?
How these aspirants are in sync with young people.
Yes.
The platforms they created for young people sequel to their positions they had before now. We keep saying that we think as Nigerians our natural resources is buried under the ground. But for me, I always say that Nigeria's natural resources is in the potentials of young people who are yet to be tapped. Those potentials are yet to be tapped. And if we have leaders who are in sync with the need of young people, who knows that our greatest resource is the young people, is in the young citizens. In their previous, positions they've had, if they created a ladder of social mobility for young people, meaning if you give them better platforms, for me, these aspirants who have created a ladder of social mobility for young people, who have granted young people access to the tools they need to live their dreams. Because the problem we are faced with today, aside age difference, a lot of these people we elect, they are not in sync with the modern days realities, global standard. They are not. It's just they keep recycling themselves. You don't put Femi. If you are made a minister for you today, you will be accessible by young people. Unlike someone who is in his 70s, who is in his 60s, made a minister for you. For me, I believe you know what you need to do to elevate and mirror excellence to young people. So to every young Nigerian that out there that is yet to jackpot and is ready to change the dynamics of our country, they should gravitate towards voting leaders who are in sync with young people, who have created platforms for young people, who are well experienced to know the disease we're faced with as young people, and who will help us, heal those diseases as Nigerians.
I don't know if you've heard of what has been said about revenge politics, because that's what we'll be talking about in the next few minutes after the break. But if you've heard of revenge politics, there's a time where I believe it's going on. For example, some say a good number of young people that would vote in this election are here for revenge for the EndSARS protest. And that would inspire and, as determine to an extent the reasons why they went to get their PVC. In some other locations, as one would find, I would also say it, like in the South, where a lot of young people felt. There's a lot of talks about amnesty, jobs creation. You promised us this, you promised us that. I mean, you're in Delta State and you're close to the Delta State governor, who's also in the running as the vice presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party. And I start to look at some of the promises and things that have been done for him, for example. Similar experience with the likes of Kwankwaso, similar experience with the likes of Showore, Obi, or the likes of Tinubu, who have made promises through the time they led the government in one measure or the other. And one would wonder, are people going to stand up to them to say, I'm taking a revenge against you, or I'm taking up a position to say, well, you did well by me? Let's talk about revenge and elections as a tool of revenge. Let's hear you. What do you think? We have about 60 seconds before the break.
If I will speak from the spectrum of, my being a Delta youth leader, and from what my governor, who is a vice presidential candidate, have done back in Delta State, I'm not sure there will be anything for revenge, but appreciation, because on inception, he did his job creation office for young Deltans, because he knows that the currency of our present generation is not certification like that of the previous generation. He knows that the currency of our generation is innovation, skills, and other nice initiative. And he created a scheme where people can access those things. And he knows also that there is need to build the next generation of leaders, and people like myself find myself in the corridors of power just because of that rare privilege he gives to young people. Today, the government is overwhelmed with young people with character and capacity in different strategic positions. So aside the fact that I'm working with him, I think if given that privilege to be at the presidency, it will ripple itself across the country, and young Nigerians will still need to stay back and not to jackpot.
All right, stay with me right here on our drawing for. I'll be back, and there will be more to talk about this very day. There's a lot. The leader of, the founder rather, of Not Too Young to Lead is on the line with me via the Zoom platform. He's in Delta. I'll be back after now to talk more. Stay close.
is Nigeria Info. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Many of you already knew, largest number of eligible voters in the 2023 elections would have to be young people. The young people, what makes up their perspective? What modifies their thoughts around the top candidates? 18 political parties are available in Nigeria in this election. And yes, they will get to choose from the various roles, the electable roles that are available to be picked up on. But the very dramatic one, the one that's getting a lot of attention, would have to be the role of who becomes the president. On the average, we will have people who are in certain age groups and age brackets running for office. And one would wonder if they're in touch with some of the ideas around young people. But then some of these same leaders would also tell you that at the time they led government, and as governors or as vice president or in any role at all, they have often worked with young people. They know what young people want. And the difference that they are willing to make is what they want to enlarge, should I say, or amplify by the efforts they will put in if they get elected in office. But the question today is, some of the leading candidates, do they know what the young people want even now? My guest still remains Akpobi Elvis. He joins me via Zoom. He's in Delta State this very morning. He's the founder of Not Too Young to Lead. And he's been telling us extensively about young people and some of the things they need to consider at this time. So let me come back to you, Elvis, this very morning. Do you think some of the people who have campaigned so far, having listened to manifestos, the rallies they've gone, and the things they have said, do they know what young people want at this time?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say all the three, um, the front runners who are presidential candidates at the moment does that. But from what I see and the campaigns I've heard, I've seen some presidential candidates meet with the creative industry, which goes back to what I said before now that our greatest resource is the potentials of untapped potentials of young Nigerians. So they know that these people, they are people they should, interface with, and I think what I think they should do too is meet with young professionals like young doctors, lawyers, and all that. Because today, a lot of doctors are exiting Nigerians because they feel they have a better enumeration package abroad. And Westerners, are growing on the potentials of and energy of young Nigerians. So for some, I'm being careful, I don't want to mention names, but for some aspirants, I think they've been interfacing with young people, while some feel that they've already, I wouldn't want to say I'm being careful, but they feel that they want to mix up with the older wagons, same persons who have kept us where we are. Let's see how it goes. But at the moment, Nigerians are fed up. Nigerians want to put their destiny in their hands. And I pray God give them that zeal, that wisdom to change the narrative.
And let's talk. Yeah, okay. Let me allow you to conclude. I'm sorry about that. Yes, go on.
To vote people who are in sync with their needs, who will make policies that will better their future, and people who are well experienced.
And, when one thinks about the socioeconomic pressure and the tension in the land, I don't think in the last 5-6 years we've experienced so much tension in the country like we're experiencing now. One would have naturally said, oh, maybe it's the build up to the election that people are becoming edgy about. But you think about the Naira and the unavailability of the Naira and whatever stunts is going on around the Naira. You think about the jobs. Everybody knows literally in their mind now that it's difficult to even get a job the way things are playing out. You think about fuel scarcity. You think about the POS operator. A lot of the young people are POS operators at this time, and their experience is something else. Do you think the socioeconomic pressures that Nigerians and young people are experiencing will play out in these elections? Because I can tell you this, a lot of young people who are so keen on collecting their PVCs, ended up finding themselves on multiple queues up to the point where Annex said, well, that's it. We're not giving our PVCs. We're instituting the deadline no more than ever before. What do you make of that? People who are supposed to be on PVC line but ended up on Naira queue line or fuel line just to get money.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. Like I said when this program started, I said that it's a very, very difficult time to be a Nigerian because of ordinarily you have money in the bank, you can't access it. You go to the POS, where at point of sale, you find out that the charges they give is very, very huge. You can't get fuel. If you are an SME person, there's no light. You need fuel. Diesel is on a high rate. Then fuel you cannot access fuel. So you become frustrated as a Nigerian at the moment because people who even to an extent, I think the elite, so they are still feeling it because the pressure will come. But what I will say, like I've advised before now, is Femi, there's something I observe as this whole thing, this pressure, this build up came up, that our problems as Nigerians is not really the leaders to an extent. From what I noticed, I think the citizens are even more corrupt than the leaders.
Why do you say so?
From what I've noticed, what I'm saying so is we take advantage of every situation. You go to a fuel station, the fuel station attendant tells you their POS is not working. He or she will refer you to a POS person close to that fuel station where because he knows that you need that fuel, you're under pressure, where the exchange rate is on the high. Then the charges. Then the ordinary Marwa or Keke person that bought fuel, he tells you it doubles the price just because he tells you, he didn't know how I got this first. So I think it's a foundational problem. Like I said in one of our section, there's one section I did with channels the other time. See, which time we keep praying for better leaders, when we should be praying for better citizens, because the leaders we are complaining about today, they did not fall from the sky. They were citizens shaped by the environment they found themselves. And when they are used to the fact that they don't get opportunities often, they made the metamorphose to become policymakers. You see the cut corners and you see funds flying because they don't want to go back to that stage they used to be. That's by the wayside. Let's, as citizens, even as we throw stones to these leaders, that they didn't do this. In our own little space, what are we doing? Me today, in my little space, what am I doing? Am I subscribing to corruption, or am I doing what will make me say I'm proud to be a Nigerian? Whatever I'm doing, will it reflect positively to the outside world that, okay, this is a good Nigerian? What do people, when you mention the word Nigeria, even at the point of entry, I've traveled, and at the point of entry, when you sample your green passport, what do people say? What the immigration officer, how do they see you? Do they see you like, I feel carrying the Nigeria passport today at the point of entry is like carrying a weight of burden, a burden of suspect. What you did not do. How do people see Nigerians outside the shores of this country? What are the news they are hearing about Nigeria? These are the things we should be asking ourselves as citizens of Nigeria, even as we throw stones at those making policies for us today, because we need to overhaul our mindsets. Yeah, because things are not working. Femi, in your space there, how do you do things in your office? If the way you do things in your office, if the way the structures are working well, if you repose across Nigeria, will Nigeria be running very well? Because if we say Nigeria is bad, Nigeria is this, for me, Nigeria is just the name. Femi, you and I make up Nigeria. Our actions and inactions will determine if Nigeria is good or bad.
I agree with you. I mean, it's also, I mean, one of the things that you've said that's, shockingly, that's been there, but maybe not taking cognizance of the way I would have loved to have done it before now. We'll have to say the leaders do fall from the sky, but they really do come from the people. Okay, if that's the case, let's bring in some of our callers and some of the people who want to make their comments. By the way, this is live on YouTube right now, so you can go on and make your comment. youtube.com/Nigeria Info Abuja. Yes, go on there, drop your comment. You can watch Elvis is also online. There's a video of that running at this time. So you want to make a comment. Young people, are you out there to vote with a sense of revenge or sense of, I have found my leader in this person who will make a difference at the end of the day? Let's take some calls, okay? Good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Femi. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Femi.
All right, welcome, Femi.
I really want to appreciate our guests. But where I usually have problem, when the fundamental issue are not being addressed, and we keep pushing blame to the citizens, those that create the opportunity for all these people to take advantage of it, we leave them by the side. And we keep blaming citizens for the failures of our leader. I think this time around, the narrative of blaming citizens will not fly. Fine, the leaders are not from another client. They are from us, the leaders. They are from us. But where did we get it wrong? Was it that from the beginning, the citizen has started like this, or the leader made them to be behaving this way? The so-called say client, it's not as if they don't have tendency of committing or behaving like this, but because there is system that checkmate everybody across board, they will sit back and think twice. So no country of this world that you will not find people who are criminally minded, who are corrupt. But because the system is in place for them to checkmate them, they will think twice when they want to do it. But here, everybody do something and go scot-free. You see law that for big men, they are nothing. But for poor people, they are something. And you believe if these people too have means to bathe themselves or to speak for themselves,
Okay.
apart from the normal law, they will not take advantage of it. People are just taking advantage of the system. So we should stop blaming the citizen. We should stop blaming the youth. The leader should do the needful. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Femi. Good to talk to you today as well. Brilliant viewpoint you have with regards to that particular discussion. Good morning to you.
Yeah, thank you. Obasanjo from Amali.
Okay, Obasanjo, I do not know whether the little network temperance is from your end, but okay, let's listen to you. Go on. While Elvis is on the line. Yes, go on, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. On the issue of some banks rejected the old note. I don't know whether we have the old note and the new note. And the Apex Bank has issue. Now, the issue is this, Femi. Nigeria are no longer happy with the judgment in the Apex Bank, the judgment from the appeal court, from the judgment of the federal court, from the judgment of even the other small court. Why? Because we don't really understand the judges. That is why the citizen today, if the Apex Court said continue on receiving the old Naira note, and citizens refuse to, that to say we don't have any institution again.
Okay.
It's
Oh, there. Okay, unfortunately, this call drops off suddenly there. Okay, I'm going to come to you, Elvis, in a short while. Let's take on one more call, okay? Good morning to you.
Sir?
Yes, good morning. How are you today?
I'm fine, Dr. Femi. This is Engineer Ola,
Okay.
from Asokoro.
Great to talk to you, Engineer Ola.
Yeah, I listened to the guest, what he was saying. But, I keep saying, many times I call, I told you, anytime we want to talk, we blame the citizen, And every day during this crisis of Naira, Mr. Femi, I praise Nigerian citizens. I praise Nigerian citizens because I was imagining how frustrated people will act. You can see it in some states, but the Nigerian citizens were just hopeful. They were just being hopeful that it's going to get better. Because assuming this is in another client, doctor, this is not what we are going to be saying. So please, I normally tell people, please stop blaming the Nigerian citizen. If you are punishing people who are doing something wrong, the thing will be discouraging them. But when you are encouraging people who are doing something wrong, my Dr. Femi, the wrong will keep on happening. That is just it.
Okay.
There is no any overzealous about it. That is just the whole thing about it. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Oh, I'm so grateful to talk to you. Thank you so much, Engineer Ola, for your viewpoint on this. Democracy is about lobby. Most times are sentimental, and most people are sentimental. Back in Utako, did write it in. And because from NPC Tower says, FMD, how can you expect the citizens to be good citizens, whereas the leaders are not good leaders? If the leaders are not corrupt, the common man will follow suit. Do you expect the keke drivers to charge less for rendering his service to you, whereas the fuel price is on the high or after staying for for days? Our problem is the leaders because they are not there to govern, but to borrow and share. Whereas the poor sufferers, we must let them go or nothing will change. Obedient Man did write that in this very morning. Let me come back to you, Elvis, with regards to this. A few comments have come in, and of course, viewpoints around the leaders come from the citizens, but you can't blame the citizens for the actions of the leaders. The leaders are bad, but they are not bad because they are from us. They are bad because they want to be bad. I think that's the bottom line of how I can describe this. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I quite agree. I'm not saying the average keke man should not, increase the price, but the increment rate is on the high. But enough. But even with those at the POS, the charges and all that, and the manner, like your life depends so much in what they do. But that's by the wayside. We are all our environment determines to an extent our mindset. Femi, you find out that when you leave the shores of this country, when you see a signpost that says stay on the queue, even these leaders, that bypass the queue back here in Nigeria. The queue on the line. They stay on that queue. When you beat traffic, you know the consequences. Another problem I think we're having again, aside corruption, our policies are not enacted. Anybody that faults the law of the country because of social strata, you see, is always waived. You see issues of it's an electionary period, and let me go towards election. Femi, when was the last time you heard that someone was charged to court and there was a judgment about vote buying and vote selling? When was the last time you heard?
Yeah, it's been difficult for INEC to even pull that up, but they've always said these laws are there, but they need the security operators to help them push it through to even the legal system. I know that's been one tough call back and forth they have gone on that.
Okay. The security of operative that's helping us put this through, what is the mindset of that security operative? When he's not sure of when next is opportunity, the security operative is there at that police station. He even worked himself there because to an extent he or she wants to make money. He's not sure when next he will make money. So the problem is there's this lack of opportunities among citizens of Nigeria today. And once a little opportunity comes, we'll be like, I'm not sure when the next opportunity will come. Let me change the dynamics of my life at the moment. So if the Nigeria system worked towards providing equal opportunities for people, irrespective of your addresses, irrespective of your surnames, if you have the right surname or not, I think we'll have a better life. We'll have a better Nigeria, because I'm sure if I work, I get paid, I will do the right thing.
Yeah, it's believed so. Yeah. Okay.
But so that's by the way. Sorry, Femi, you wanted to say
something. No, it's fine. I wanted to squeeze in more questions, but
by the wayside.
Yes.
That's by the wayside. I know, like one of those scholars said, that if the leaders led us properly, we'll have good citizens. I agree with that. I quite agree with that. So it's another opportunity. It's another time. This period affords us the opportunity to elect those who will lead us properly, so we'll have better citizens.
Interesting viewpoint. Yeah. You know when you say this, and it's playing out like the reason I'm acting out, I'm now saying it this way. The reason why I'm acting out this way is because of the way you acted. Like they would say in marriage sometimes, the husband would say it's because of the wife that I have done what I have done, and the wife would say I did not do it. It's because of the way you used to behave. All right, but let's read.
Yes.
So is that the situation with the electorates and the people to be voted for? Triple D Fembari says, good morning, Fem. The masses are gradually losing hope on our judiciary because of their justice system. They need to sit up. God bless Nigeria. And thanks for the good job, Fem. Yeah, you want to make a comment?
Femi, it still goes back to citizenry. That best leadership. The judiciary, those judges, they are citizens whose mindsets were shaped by the environment they found themselves.
But is that supposed to be the case?
Have you entered?
Yeah, okay,
No, it's not meant to be like that. So our problem today is a foundational problem. From the citizenry to the leadership. Femi, have you been to an office? They will tell you. Have you been in this area when you get to an office? They will tell you there's one very strict person. He doesn't cut corners. He's very rigid.
There's always one person or two.
Yes, one or two. You don't, like, if you want to deal with them, you deal with them with the fact that this guy is a no-nonsense person. But you find out that people like that, they are not financially endowed. People don't like them because they are doing the right thing. Femi, let's ask ourselves today as Nigerians, what are we celebrating? Because what you celebrate multiplies. When was the last time we celebrated someone who made good grades, who makes Nigeria's name synonymous to greatness? When was the last time we celebrated such people? Who are the people that are mentors today? Because the average 10 years old child is seeing that person as a mentor. The people will celebrate seeing them as a mentor. And in the next 10 years, the country will be overwhelmed with such persons, which will either make us feel safe or not safe. which will either make Nigeria better or not better. Ask you that.
All right.
Femi.
Yeah.
You're meant to be asking me, but let's ask ourselves this.
Yeah. Well, it's a tough call. Mentors and people who do the right things are getting rare.
Yes.
Even the definition of what is
Many
right
people-
it's relative these days.
Yes. Nigeria today seems as if we are. I don't know. I'm a part of it, I must say, but it's as if we celebrate things we are ashamed of, and that's how we find ourselves here.
Okay.
So, in the next few weeks, affords us another privilege, to change the dynamics of this country. And like I said, is that you vote the expired, the experience, and the experiment.
Ooh. Oh, I like the sound of
Because
that.
we all will be here together.
Yeah. Expired, experience, or the experiment. Okay. Well, who knows what that would mean down the line for you at the polls. Let's take one more call as we round off here. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Femi. How are you doing today?
Very well. Thanks for joining in.
I'll be Femi Mike on the mic from Dawaki.
Good to have
I
you on.
want to appreciate the view of our guest. However, I want to state categorically clear that using a family as an instance, the children behave well because the parents are there to guide them. Am I right? When the children are misbehaving and the parents are not
Are you there?
bound to do whatever they want to do. I'm here.
Okay, go on.
Now, it also applies to a father who smokes and expects his son not to smoke.
My
What
dear sir,
moral
just
justification do you have
give me a
for your son
moment.
not to smoke, for instance?
I'll reconnect
Now,
with you.
what
Just a
I'm saying is
moment.
that
2020.
This is Nigeria Info.
To listen to you in about 30 seconds. Concluding points. Apologies, we're pressed for time. Yes, go on. Yes, Elvis, please go on.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. For me, I don't have any other passport as a Nigerian. There's no other home I would rather call home than Nigeria. So everybody who's privileged to listen to me today, mostly our young citizens, we can't say we want to mind our business as it has to do with the future of Nigeria. Because even if there is this crave to escape Nigeria, mostly when we see people who escape Nigeria, their skin looks fresh. We can still make Nigeria fast greener back here in Nigeria. Vote. As we gravitate towards the elections, let's vote people who are in sync with the pains and problems of young Nigerians.
Definitely.
Because the future of Nigeria
All
is
right.
in the hands of young Nigerians who make up more than 70% of the populace. For me, I'll gravitate towards voting experience.
Okay. All right. Let's leave it at that. Elvis Akpobi Elvis, founder of Not Too Young to Lead, joining me from Delta State this morning. And that's the show for today. Coming up next is Business News. Stay with us right here on Nigeria Info.
Talk